G'day guys, welcome back to Supercoach Swordplay and welcome to my round 4 review. Hope you're all going well. Very much another par week for my rank, down 202 spots, now sitting at 12,615. The round score, 1938. Certainly nothing to write home about. Maxi absolutely smashed me this week. Had Oscar McInerney in his side, Captain Huey McCluggage, gave me an absolute bath. But there is time. It is a marathon, not a sprint. And now we are into the real season because no more best 18. We are now back to best 22. So I'm sticking positive. I did make another boost this week. So 3 boosts down the drain. Originally, I wasn't going to. Do I regret it? In some ways, yes, but I think it might work out long term. It's really hard to tell at the moment because even if we look at our ultra premiums, they're just so super inconsistent. Who can we really rely on? Just a really tough season to start off. So what are we going to do this week? I'm hoping that I can even hold off with my trades, but we've got a potential injury to Noddy. We've got Finn Callahan, who's really underperforming. Who knows what's happening with the Elijah Hewitts of the world. So I may have to trade. I really don't want to, but we'll discuss that when we get into the side. Before we do get into the side, a couple of quick shout outs. So ran into Shawnee on the weekend at the Castlemaine swap meets, got up at about 3:30, almost hit about 25 kangaroos on the way, but got myself a few bargains there. And Shawnee, a great super coach man, did look after me. An Ewok on card for $10 if you don't mind. So Shawnee, thank you very much, mate. All the best of luck with your side for the rest of the year. Also ran into Benny as well in Melbourne, a good Richmond man. So I think he's sitting around the top 1,000 at the moment. Don't know how he went this week, but very knowledgeable, terrific bloke. Shout out to you, Benny. And finally, a great man named Bob, aka Tags. Ran into him on the train and had a wonderful conversation for about 10 to 15 minutes. He's a Brisbane Lions man as well. So a terrific fella and one of the nicest blokes that you would hope to meet. So shout out to you, mate. Was an absolute pleasure. But it's time to get into this side. As I said, things are looking okay, not fantastic, not in disaster zone, but I'm hoping now it's best back to 22, back to best 22. Feeling like Dr. Seuss, geez. We're hopefully going to make a move. So let's get into it and see what the team's looking like. Alrighty, now I better start with my trades from last week. As you can see in my forward line, I don't have a particular Port Adelaide player who, after looking absolutely disinterested for the first 3 weeks, came out looking like a combination of Gary Ablett Jr., Nathan Fyfe, and Chris Judd this peak. You would not believe this. I knew the risk, though. I knew the risk that I was taking. And in my original trades, I was holding on to Horn Francis. It was going to be Lindsay and Nevitt out for Baz and Marius in. And that's probably what I should have stuck with. However, during the week, this mid-price madness, it really got to me. The Baz, I thought he was a must-have. He was coming in either way, but it was also Marich, and then Humphrey got into the conversation. So that's what I was originally going to do after deciding to boost. And then I thought, nah, do you know what? I'm not going to take the risk and go with 2 mid-prices. I better just go down to a Marius and include him as well, just to get some cash in the bank. Because if, say, a Humphrey or Marius don't work, then I'm in big trouble here. So I'm just going to go with one of them. And I decided to go with Marich. So very, very lucky on that front, in the short term anyway. So it was Horn Francis out, Campo out, and Nevitt out. Now, I wanted to hold on to Nevitt, but with all these question marks, Chris Scott, I just thought, nah, I'm just going to get rid of him. I wanted to hold on to someone like a Lindsay instead. I knew that Henderson was making money this week as well. And the other bloke I got out was Campo. Again, he could come back, but the fact he wasn't even listed as an emergency last week, I just thought, I can't afford to have all these dead rookies. I need to do something about this. So they were my trades in Baz, Marius, and Marich. So see how it goes long term. But let's quickly get into the side. Zorka was my captain. Super disappointing. Was a decent first half, but then really took the foot off the pedal in the second half. Had been averaging 135 plus over the first 3 weeks. I captained him for the first time, and of course he goes a sub 100. So this is something that really stopped me from going up in the ranks this week. But I know that lots of teams went with Zorko, even your Sherry, for example, and even a McRae, and he scored right on 100. So a little bit tough for some captaincy options this week. She's with the 144, so was a little bit worried about this, but back to a very nice roll and superb. Also worried that he may have potentially been tagged in this game, but it was LDU. So I was a little bit shocked to see that, but really good for She's Loners. And all of a sudden, he's looking like someone you want to have in your side again. Dale with the 110 really repaid me after a dog of a game last week. So he's looking okay. Not too concerned with him now. It was just that first week you get him in and you think, oh no. But this was a pretty good comeback at 110, I think. Roberts with the 77. Some people are concerned, and you may say that Bice is life may be the man that's going to affect him a little bit, but I'm certainly going to give him a little bit more time, and I'm hoping he can be one of my last upgrades if I need to upgrade him at all. So he's performed really well over the first 3 weeks, and if this is going to be his worst game, hopefully it is, then 77's a decent floor, but a little bit lucky with that goal as well. Bicey, baby, I think you have to get him in. I think he's still a must trade in at around 200k this week because he looks absolutely phenomenal. Spills was all over the pick after half a game as a sub. Spills had thrown away the keys with this pick, and he was absolutely spot on. So good call, Spillsy. You got to get this man in, I think, and chuck him on field. Trainer has just transformed himself over the last couple of weeks, and all of a sudden he's going to be a really nice moneymaker for us. What's handy with these rookies is when they get consecutive decent scores, and he's been able to do that for us. So fantastic play from Lukey Trainer. Well done, mate. Reed had the bye, and O'Connell obviously out with concussion protocols. Don't know if he comes straight back in. Think it was Stocker took his place. Don't really know how he performed. So fingers crossed for me he can get a game again. Brayshaw in the midfield with 135 is looking absolutely fantastic. I think there'll be a fair few teams looking to trade him in this week. I think he'll be a fantastic captaincy option coming up against the Tigers. And then he's got a pretty nice run after that. So really wrapped with that and a terrific buy to go along with it. Lucky Neil, Shocky Neil with a 130. Fantastic. Now, we thought that McIntosh may line up on him, but that wasn't really the case at all. Got a fair bit of freedom, did Chocky during the game, and didn't absolutely tear the game apart with a nice 150, but 130 is absolutely fantastic. Now, coming up against the Dogs and then the Pies, I don't think he gets tagged during the with the Dogs. Maybe Matt Kennedy puts a bit of body on him. Not too sure. And then with the Pies, do you get a Perriman looking to tag him? I'm really not too sure, but I'm definitely holding, and I'm hoping the next couple of weeks can be decent matchups for him. Adam Chera, well, it's the same old story with him, isn't it? Looks brilliant at halftime, 55 to a 60 type score, and then just really goes a little bit quiet after that. But what's he doing for us? He's giving us that 95 to a 105 type average, and that's fine for me. Really happy with that. 99. People are a little bit disappointed with Chera, but I think it's fine for what we paid for him anyway. Clary, 98. He's a hold for me. We've seen him with that 130. Now, he's not back to his best, but he's nothing like 2023 Clary. 2024 Clary. So I'm quite happy to hold again at the moment. But Finn Callaghan, yeah, this is a little bit concerning at the moment. 72. I just did not expect him to be a tag target. I'm spewing on this. He just keeps on getting targeted. So coming up against the Saints this week, does Windy just go straight to him? I don't know. It could be an absolute disaster. So we do have big decisions on our hands there. Noddy, again, super disappointing, 46, but he's got that ankle injury. He is going for scans, so hopefully we do know sooner rather than later, but I would love to hold this guy. But if you've got a bit of a dead bench, then you may need to move him on. That's super unfortunate. Levi came back with an 87 after, like a 37 last week, so added about 50 points to his score. It was always going to be a brilliant matchup. Kicked 1 goal, 2. Was really, really great to watch him along with his brother. Shattered, I don't know, Will. That's just, bad miss on my behalf, being a Brisbane man in particular. But Raps have Levi. Marias, now this is what I was disappointed about. And I sort of knew this with the pick, and this is what I was saying all week, and this is why I was never on him, is because playing that wing position, it's so volatile. And I said to the boys on the potty, would you be surprised to see Marias go a 40 and a 50? And we all said, no, not at all, even though he's looked fantastic in the first couple of games. So this was almost expected, but I still went there, and I'm still happy that I went him over Humphrey for now because I've got a fair bit of money in the bank, which will allow me to make that next upgrade pretty easily, I think. So not the end of the world, but we certainly want more, don't we? Lindsay didn't play, as we know, but hopefully back this week or the next. I'm holding out hope that he might be. Henderson, don't know if he holds his spot. As soon as I've traded him in, he's got a 40-odd and a 32. Just no good. Hewitt is not playing. He's got that calf issue. No idea there. But the reason why I kept on to him over Nevitt is because West Coast play a lot of those later games. He's got that DPP. So I thought if they're both out for a little while, he's probably the better swing option and loop option for me. Not that I want loops at this stage of the season. Sherry and DeConning. Sherry, it's so unfortunate. You can tell that he's sore. You can tell that he's not right. Oh, and if he was, he'd be averaging around that 120 to 130 mark. I'm absolutely sure of it. So this is very disappointing, but it's a bit of a disaster zone around the rucks, isn't it? DeConning with a 101. I chucked the VC on him after doing it in round one, not being able to take the score, not doing it the next couple of weeks. He went off, and it's just been super frustrating. So it is what it is, though. People are concerned that Pitto is coming back or potentially maybe coming back. I just hope not. I'll just be covering my eyes if he does, and then we'll have a pretty big decision on our hands. But I think we need to give it at least 1 week's data just to be sure about what's going to actually happen if the combo actually comes to fruition. Boyd isn't playing. Should win Archer Reid. That's a miss. Ranked with an 81. Talk about a miss. This is the AFL. Well, not the AFL's fault. It's the umpire's fault. They admitted that it was the wrong decision. This could have been a 110 if he kicks that goal, but it is what it is. Had a bit of strapping on the calf, I heard as well, which is slightly concerning. I just hope that he's right. He's still an absolute keeper, a great forward pick. Wrap that own him, but yeah, a little bit concerned. Hope he's okay. McRae with 100. We've all got him. That's all good. Baz, I had to bring him in, and he got a 108. So again, at the end of the day, he's going to be a keeper for us, and I saved a lot of money going down from Horn Francis. Marek with an 88. Again, fantastic. Short term, as I mentioned, looking better than the Humpty at the moment, but not keeper. I don't think he's keeper status, but he's doing two things for us. He's making some nice money, and he's also given us some decent scores on field. So, yeah, really wrapped. I went Ryan there. Davidson, back to earth with a 54, but again, everyone's got him. Not concerned, making really nice money for us. SPP with a 74, so this was a really nice comeback. The issue is he can't get two consecutive decent scores, someone like a Luke Trainer. So that break even sort of hovering high, a bit lower. So I'm hoping he can get to what? I don't know, 300. I'm hoping around the 300 mark. We'll see how we go, but may let him go a little bit earlier than that. Kako didn't play, and Stone with the 29. He's going to be, geez, bit like a dead rookie, not scoring much for us, but he'll get DPP at the end of this week, which is going to be really handy for us. And then I've got Daniel in the flex. Everyone's got him as well. So that is aside. Now, what are we going to look to do for trades this week? I don't know if there are any absolute must-haves. Let's have a look at some of the break-evens in my side. Zorko 141, but you're holding. Sheezer with 111, that's all good. Dale with a 137, that's expected because those two big scores are now out of his system, but got that 110 last week, that's all good. Roberts now goes up to a 93, very much achievable. 98 in the negative, if you don't mind, for Ollie Bice. That's why I think he's an absolute must-have still, and he's a great on-field option from what we've seen already. Trainer with a negative 51 break-even, so fantastic. There's no way I'm trading anyone here. You got Reid, who's got a nice negative break-even there. So O'Connell, depends what happens with him, but yeah, this is definitely a concern. And I was so close to starting Connor O'Sullivan, a big miss. And remember back to a couple of weeks ago, I was trading out O'Connell for O'Sullivan, and somehow I ended up getting Henderson in, which was, again, follow your gut. Should have gone through those original trades. So, but yeah, I'm probably holding on to him for now. Holding on to all these premiums, 109 for a break even, 92, 91 for Bray, 145 for Chalky, but not disaster zone there. 137 for Fino Callaghan. So if he gets tagged by Windy this week and the break even's 137, all of a sudden, like, we are losing bulk cash here. So this is a bit of a big concern for me. If you can go 100 though, let's just say, and he doesn't get tagged, just say he goes to Tom Green, then yeah, I'd be quite happy to hold him. So it's going to be tough. Noddy, we're just not sure about. So still got a nice break even there, but we just don't know. Definitely holding Ashy with that break even. Negative 37 from Reyes. Lindsay, we're holding. Henderson, we're holding for now. And I'm just hoping we can squeeze a little bit more cash. Very slow burn though. Who knows if he'll even stay on the side. Hewitt, I'm happy to hold for now, but we'll see how desperate we are. Maybe forced to trade. But happy to do that, still with a negative break even. I'm holding on to my two rucks there, even though Sherry with a break even of 179. If you didn't start Sherry, you've done pretty well there. It's Conning I'm keeping. Rankin stays, McRae stays, Baz stays, Marek stays, Davidson stays, SPP stays at the moment, Kako's staying. You could get rid of Stone if you want to, but no desperate need. And then you got Caleb Daniel. So really, what are we doing here? It's probably Fino Callaghan, if anyone. And I've got 620k. So if I swap Daniel down there, geez, it's tempting. You could just go someone like a Josh Dunkley in, which automatically really upgrades that midfield, doesn't it? Having someone like a Josh Dunkley there. Huey McCluggage, as I said, Max had him as captain. Libba, I'm not paying up for Libba. Saligo, how good's he been? Had a lot of questions about George Hewitt in the stream as well. Sarong, do I go up to a Sarong? A Dawson wouldn't be bad. Will Ashcroft, man. Should have gone with my boy. Jeez, he's looking good. Really what I'd like to do is I'd like to target a backman rather than anything. I can go your forwards. I just don't think at the moment I want to pay up. So I could go, for example, your Lockie Whitfields. I could go your Jack Sinclairs. But we're really paying up top dollar at this point. 640k. I can't even afford that anyway. But if I had that extra 20k, I just wouldn't be going there. I could go all the way down to a moneymaker like a Clay Hall, for example. And then I could go, do I even have enough for Whitfield? Probably not, do I? Jeez, that's tempting. That's really tempting. I just don't want to use two trades. And do you know what? 600k is probably fair and reasonable for Lockie Whitfield, to be quite honest. I'm getting O'Connell out, who, even if he comes back, he's going to be the slowest burn. Clay Hall, I'm just not sold on his job security. Scoring potential's good, but I'm just not sold. But getting out of Finn this week could absolutely be the right move. I think it's a matter of you've got to get out of him this week or you ride the pick. Because if he goes terribly and then you trade him out, you're just locking in such a big loss. So that could be a realistic trade for me. The issue is this. I'm not going to go through all the scenarios now. I'll go through all the different players on the stock market video. However, the reason why I also want to hold off on trades, and what you need to really do is you need to look into the future with your crystal ball and look at which targets you think are going to be really juicy. And one for me is Tom Stewart. Now, the issue I've got with getting someone like a Stewart in, I've already got 4 here in Zorko, Sheasel, Dale and Roberts. Stewart in there means that there's no room for both Whitfield and Sinclair, who I think are pretty much must-haves. But then you do look at the flex position. And the other thing you take into account is, in what realistic world are all 5 of these blokes going to stay on the park, healthy, untradeable for the rest of the year? There's most likely going to be some sort of carnage, and one of these blokes is probably out for some reason. So that's another thing that I've got as a bit of an advantage there, as well as a flex. So Stewart, I think, at around the 450k mark is going to be pretty hard to pass up. And just say with some incoming DPP, there could be some really nice forward options here that you could go with. And I can also potentially use some DPP to maybe get Stewart in the flex and then switch him up. And then you've got someone like Sam Powell-Pepper here. So if you look to trade him out, you've got 417. So he goes up, Stewart goes down a little bit. You probably couldn't do it in the one trade, but that's what I'd be more looking to do, I think, next week. I don't want to really sideways Finn. Like, you could say an option could be, and I don't want to do this, but just at the price. If I get Norm in, I've got 116k. And then potentially next week, you could look to move on, say, a Powell-Pepper and maybe even a Henderson, and get Stewart in that flex position. So I do have the option there, but for now, I'm just going to hold off. I'm going to hold off. Could be likely I'll trade out Finn. I'll speak to some people during the week, some great St Kilda people, about what they think will happen in regards to Windy's role. See if I can get some inside info. Maybe get Scoops to give me the lowdown on what's going to happen. So before we go, captains for the week. So we've got Adelaide and Geelong. Probably not going to invest there. Sydney and Collingwood, no for me. Do you go the Shees? So maybe you could look at the Shees as a bit of a VC option there against the Suns. West Coast versus Carlton. You could go... Jeez, I tell you, if Pito is not named, then the VC is looking very juicy there. Dogs and Lions. Do you go back to Chocky? Do you hold faith that he's not going to get tagged? You could potentially. The D's and the Dons doesn't really do much for me. Okay, so Andy B's been in great form. I think he's a pretty safe captain option. The Saints. Ooh, does Jack McRae get tagged? Potentially. And then you got the Hawks and the Power. So I think what I might look to do is potentially go TDK into... Oh, it's either going to be Chocky or Andy. I'll probably go with Andy at the moment. Oh, do I? Yeah. Probably go with Andy. And Loop, I'll just do a nice, easy one, I think, assuming Boyd doesn't play. That's such an easy one, doing that in your rucks. So that's probably going to be how I line up. Kako against Melbourne. Pepper against Hawthorn. Davidson against the Lions. I might even... Actually, with Noddy off, what am I going to do here? I may even have to if Lindsay doesn't get up. This is terrible. Can I loop Lindsay? No, they're playing. So these guys are all playing each other. May even have to do something like that. Yeah, we'll work all this out during the week when team sheets come out. So that is it for now, guys. All the best of luck for the week. We're going to have a live coming out. I think that might be later on tonight. Then we've got the potty. Then we've got the captain's video. Then we've got the stock market. Then we're going to have the live teams coming into Thursday. We're going to have some Friday night stuff. We've got chit chat with Spills. We've got a heap of stuff coming up. We've got Roscoe with his game day stuff as well. Actually, make sure you do get involved in game day. I'll leave all the details in the video description. Peanut is the code that you need for $20 worth of free packs. So make sure that you really do check that out as well. So I'm going to leave you there, guys. Stay tuned for all that awesome content.